Hello.
JB, do I have to comment on your fucking video? JB, you
Yeah,
have to hit your target so I can send you that fucking thing. Bloody pillow. Yeah.
I shall do that. I shall do that just for you. Let me see if I can make it better.
No, I don't think you can. Does it have a color changing function? A Brazilian wrestler.
Who put his name, man?
Why are you pretending like you know how to wrestle?
Right? Yeah, I don't know how to do this, man. It's crazy.
Wonderful. So, Brazilian wrestler, also known as Mr. Rodriguez, please turn on your camera.
Yes, sir.
So, Nika. Okay, let me just message Nika. Ah, wonderful. Nika's here. So, before we get started, does anyone have any questions?
How's your day going, man?
I'll put you in a waiting room. Yeah, I'll give you 5 minutes of time out with that kind of behavior. Yes. Why are you being so agreeable? Brazilian wrestler. Let's talk about this quickly. Do you actually care how my day is going?
Kind of, yeah. Somehow,
Why?
yeah, I do.
Why?
Because what if you're having a bad day and I'm trying to ask you questions and then you just give me a bad answer, you know? It happens.
So you're asking me how's my day going to assess the competence of the answers that I give you.
Yeah, kind of.
And how would you know if there's an adjustment to the competence?
I don't know.
Assume all my days are bad days and never ask me how I'm doing. I think that will make everyone a lot better and more time efficient. I am joking, but the last thing like you guys like everyone needs to become more disagreeable. Like everyone is way too agreeable. Yes. Wonderful. So, Karen, have we started outreach to America?
No,
Why?
I think I first of all need to focus on the European market, on my German market. I'm right now preparing the presentation for the German market. I think if I spread my focus to too many topics, I will not be able to deliver.
Deliver what? You're doing sales calls.
Yeah, but there's a lot of service behind that.
Okay, fine. Grand buffet. Nika, any questions? Are you good?
I'm good, thank you.
Wonderful. So, let us discover what we learned today. Oh, we were so close. We were so close. Oh, okay, we're going to cover both topics today. So give me 1 second. So, topics to cover today. Let me just make this full. So, we're going to be going over first principle, so vocab, and then does anyone here know what this is? This principle? Fuck me, fuck you. No? Cool. We're going to be doing vocab, and then in the meantime, try and use part of your brain to figure out what fuck me, fuck you is. It's relatively obvious, right? And we're going to be going over two. So, what is vocabulary? Wonderful. Everyone knows what the fuck vocabulary is. Why is vocabulary important?
It
Rodriguez.
helps you establish authority and make you sound like you have a higher IQ.
Oh, wonderful. You listen, you learn. Very good.
No, there's one more that you said last time.
There's conscientiousness and all that type of stuff, but it's more specifically with IQ and authority, right? As an example, let's look at this call. Yes? based on this call, just let's imagine I don't know you guys, right? My assessments are that Michael Rodriguez is in gang-related activity, probably Mexican, probably hyper-aggressive. Then JB looks like a drunk man who isn't doing too well, definitely living on welfare. And things are tough, and his wife feels it even more than he does when he beats her every night when his day isn't going well. Yes, Pocahontas, you look like you're trying to fit into the Addams family. Do you know what the Addams family is? Yes. You look like Wednesday is your role model, maybe the wife, I don't know her name. Life isn't too good, not highly sociable. And Karen, you look like you're a big, big fan of Harry Potter. Yes, very big fan of Harry Potter. You also look like you don't really like men that much, but you can kind of tolerate them, but definitely have your own biases towards them. All right. Now, the fact is, all of you guys were able to chuckle because you were able to understand the references that I'm making and why I see what I'm seeing, correct? All right. So on the basis that I can see it, you can assume that other people can see it too, correct? Yes. Now, what inflections would any of you guys make on me based just on what you see that you believe other people would be able to also tell? Feel free to not be nice. That is not the goal here. It's about being honest. Someone speak or I will pick. JB. Hmm?
Rich playboy.
Based on what?
Just the vibes you're giving over the color of the room. If I heard you, after I heard you speak a couple of times, I definitely assume you think of yourself better than others to some degree, to a high degree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Sounds right.
What other assessments? Cool. We can just put that as that, right? Now, one fact is I have a wall over here. Yeah, just a I can remove the face thing. There we go. I have a simple wall over there, right? I have this background over here. I have normal lights, or I can use blue lights. Do you think blue lights are more effective in me controlling how I am perceived versus the opposite? All right. So then I'm doing everything on purpose. All right. I have a TV there simply because I know that TV does me good, looks good. Not a small size, not the biggest it can be, but a solid size. I was speaking with Ernest on getting unnecessarily stupid couches behind me. Yes, not that I can lounge, simply because I know that there is an ROI behind me getting a stupid couch behind. Now, why is there an ROI on me getting a couch? Pocahontas.
There would be.
No, definitely. And so imagine a fuck off couch here. Yes, that
Yeah.
looks very nice. Why is there an ROI?
It makes you look more approachable, maybe like more human friendly, if it's
Nope.
what you want to do at some point.
Nope.
No.
Yes. It is simply because I know for a fact on Zoom calls, on sales calls, there's going to be someone who's dumb enough to think because I've got a nice background, nice TV, and a nice couch, I'm very successful. And only because of that fucking couch, they're pushed over the edge because they're going to associate success with competence. And they're going to make stigmas in their own head because they have a shitty couch and I have a very nice couch. All right. All of a sudden, the couch is paid for itself. Does that make sense? All right. Literally, a couch. Why? People are stupid. Yes, I can trust the insecurity of a random human that I'm going to meet. Yes. I'll give you another example, right? There's been a few times on calls where I'm speaking to somebody and I'm so close to closing them, right? And then all I have to do is tell them what car I have. Yes. And all of a sudden, closed. That was enough to push them over the edge. Does whatever car I have, whether it's good or bad, have any difference in me as an individual. None whatsoever. They don't know how the fuck I got the car. They don't, to an extent, even know if the car is real. Yes, now granted, it is, but regardless, it's enough to get someone over the edge. Why? It's all because of association, right? How you are seen has a very big play. A lot of it can be controlled, right? And then one step further, we now go into vocabulary. There's definitely been occasions where you guys are speaking with those that have better vocabulary than what you have, right? And then they'll use words that you are unfamiliar with, but you can put together what the word meant based on their sentence structure, correct? One step further, do you believe that part of you felt insecure, even at a micro level, for the fact that they're using a word that you don't fully know, right? Where to an extent, you haven't asked them, oh, what does that word mean? Or did you just pretend that you understood the word and you carried on with your fucking date with them? Right? Because it's all about how you're seen. In a group full of people, if someone uses a big word, the likelihood that someone's going to say, oh, what does that mean? I don't know what it means, is very low because they're worried about the impression that other people will give or the impression of what that will give. Yes. But the fact is, not knowing a word does not reflect shit. We can all agree. So why not ask when you don't know something? Because it's all about perception. Now, to the same extent, if even a part of you feels that you will be perceived badly if you don't know good words, or is seen to not know good words, to the same extent, when someone knows those good words, you will perceive them in a better way. Is that correct? Right? I'll use an example where let's put slang into the picture, right? We're all familiar with what the hood is, correct? Like, or the ghetto. Yes? People who it's the language used in the ghetto versus high point of society, that like the highlight, you know, like those the country people, the like they speak in posh, like they speak in a very fucking posh way. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. There's an argument to be made that someone from the ghetto who is working their way up to that will never speak in slang to not be associated with the people in the ghetto, correct? Because of how they want to be seen. All that speaks to is how they see people in the ghetto. Does that make sense? Right? And to that, what we're doing is we all agree if someone knows big words, it doesn't really mean shit. Right? It is not, there is no direct correlation. It can imply or infer, but there's no direct correlation to your understanding of words to your knowledge. Right? Because you can have someone who is from the hood who doesn't read as much compared to a highly educated person, but on an IQ, intelligence, circumstantial basis, that person in the hood is way more intelligent. We can all agree, correct? So why does it matter? And because it's a fake thing that matters, we then utilize that as far as we can. So this is not necessarily, this is nothing to do with niche knowledge. It's all to do with the words that come out of your mouth. Right? So we're going to do a little exercise. I'm going to put 5 sentences here. Feel free to use ChatGPT because this won't be, like, you guys won't necessarily be comfortable with this. Yes. And then one by one, we're going to go through your sentences. So okay, let's just go for 3, right? So just to make this easier, so you guys understand what we're doing here, does everyone know who Jordan Peterson is?
Yes.
Nika, you don't?
No.
So my reference won't make too much sense. It's not super important. Okay, fine. Okay. I want this done in a way where you are seen to the same level as Jordan Peterson. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes, and in that time, I'm just going to show Nika Jordan Peterson.
So are we supposed to restructure the sentence, or are we supposed to come up with a reply to the sentence on the level of Jordan Peterson?
I do not care. Either one. All I need is the highest form of the English language, or are able to structure together using vocabulary, not articulation, but vocabulary. It's in the chat.
So imagine you're born.
So Nika, this is an example of Jordan Peterson's speaking.
With an IQ of 145. Well, then you might think, well, that's not very fair, because what about the poor guy who's born with an IQ of 85? And those are very different. They're very, 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 very different. And you say, well, that's completely unfair. It's like, fair enough. But the guy with the IQ of 145 is prone to the temptations of the pride of the intellect. And that is Lucifer. Right? Like, that's the worst temptation.
Like, he just went from like 0 to a very high level of speaking.
Lucifer is the spirit of intellect gone most dreadfully wrong. And so, sure, you can have an IQ of 145, but man, you better be on your knees in gratitude that that gift was given to you, and you better not misuse it, because if that thing takes the upper hand, you are in the hands of the worst possible agent of destruction. So imagine you're born with...
Nika, understand? Cool. So raise your hand when you're ready, and then let's see what you can do. Karen, you ready?
I can start.
Go for it.
Which question do you want me to start with?
Whatever you feel least confident in.
Okay. So I will start with a relation with my siblings. So actually, I do have a brother who's a little bit older than me. So since we've been living together in the same room for almost 20 years, there's a high likelihood this has been influencing our relationship, which is why nowadays we are arguing a lot. And since we're not always in the same opinion, probably there is the chance that we will that we'll have some issues communicating together in the future. Probably there was also a high influence of our parents on us, but a lack of understanding can not really be a good foundation to build something together.
So I'm going to try. Now, granted, I don't have the context, but I'm just going to try and improve what you said. So over the past 20 years, my brother and I have been living in the confines of the same four walls. And while this may seem like a pleasant experience, one must understand that we are two different types of individuals with two different archetypes. Even though we come from the same parents, the same blood, we suffer different challenges, and often our difference of opinion causes fire or tension to build up between these four walls. And I hope and have desires for a prosperous relationship with my siblings, but I feel the fact that we share too much oxygen together results in a lack of oxygen, making us both struggle to breathe. Does that make sense? Do you see the difference? I'm not happy with how I put it, but do you see the difference between the two?
Yes, you're trying to use a lot of metaphorical language as well.
Yes. Right? Yeah. Honestly, I enjoy my metaphors. Right? But then if you're able to utilize a metaphor to explain a circumstance and the other party is able to see what you're saying through it, how, like, what does that show about your speaking capacity?
I think I didn't understand the question. Can you ask it again, please?
If, let's imagine someone is telling you a story, right? Or explaining their point of view, and they're able to slap metaphors left, right, and center, and you're able to understand everything they say with each metaphor and the meaning behind the metaphor. Would you class that person as well-spoken?
Actually, yes.
Right? It's pretty speaking. Yeah, you're speaking in a pretty fashion. Right? You also use too much so and So I started that with so. You like to add the word so, however, it's not needed. It's a filler word that you use to kick it off. Right? So it's painting a pretty picture in less words, which then makes people think, wow, look how she can speak. I can't speak like that. She must be very smart. But you're just using, in this case, just using metaphors.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it's also very, a good example would be a poem, right? A poem is up for interpretation, making it a lot more powerful, and it is enough, like the amount of power put behind a poem is up to the listener or the person receiving the poem. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Making it circumstantially more profound, but that's fine. Give me your next one.
Okay, so as for last weekend, whenever I was waking up in the morning, the first thing I wanted to do after a fresh breeze of coffee is leaving the house in a very good mood and heading to the car because I really love to go to the Alps to ski.
Wonderful. So let's go sentence by sentence. Give me one sentence at a time.
So when I was heading to the car, I found there's been someone broken into. Do you want to add something?
So I was surprised. I was surprised. It's short, difficult one to do. I was surprised to find that my car had been broken into. Like, there's not much to do there. Like, you can't really put a poem on that one because it's a bit extreme. Like, unless you're a philosopher. You're like, if you want, you can go down the philosophy route. Yes. And then
Okay.
like go down the lines of whether or not it was good or bad based on whether you helped somebody or someone just I don't know.
First of all, I thought there was a bad experience. And then I saw someone laying very cozily on my driver's seat, probably having a good sleep there the whole night.
So I made them a cup of tea. Yes. That's fine. Give me the last one.
You mean the last question?
Yes.
So whenever I find myself in a conflict situation with a lot of hot air in the air, I tend to become very ununderstandingly. So I tend to just focus on what the person said, and besides really prioritizing how the person feels or what this person's been through in this day.
Much better. That would be the best one. That's fine.
The best one
Yes.
in terms of, you mean how I said it?
Yes, how you said it. Yes.
Okay.
But granted, I'd want you to do this with Ernest in German as well, because I think it'd be a lot easier in German. Would it?
It would.
Yeah. Rodriguez.
Yes, sir. So I'll do the sleeping as well. So I'm the oldest brother, and I just grew up taking care of my little brother, for the times that I'm just changing his diapers, and everything like that.
Pause.
I
As the eldest of my siblings, I bore the responsibility of taking charge,
Oh, the
from changing their
responsibility.
diapers at a young age. Carry on.
Okay. And such as going to his soccer games, training him at home as well, having my own gym at home and always training him in soccer. Now he's playing soccer for PSG in Brazil. He's a PSG team, and I'm very happy for him, right? And I feel like we have this relationship. Like, he respects me a lot as an older brother, and he sees that I'm like a person that he wants to be in life. So I feel like
And
I got
one,
a pretty good relationship.
you did not use any word that showed impressive on, like there was no good vocabulary used
My vocab is pretty trash, yes.
through your own choice. Because if I was like any word I can think of, you probably know. Do you understand when I say I bore the responsibility?
Bored? Wait,
Okay, fine. By saying I took responsibility,
the responsibility. Okay.
you can say that, yes?
Yes.
So I took responsibility over the safety and security and development of my younger brother from a young age. Right? All of those are words that you're familiar with, but then it's like the selection of those words for that sentence that would make others think, he's interesting. Yes. Saying, shortening sentences is key. So the shorter you can make a sentence, typically the more power and oomph and more control you have over that sentence. You have to recognize that a lot of what you say is you're utilizing filler words that aren't necessary. Yep. JB, I think I'm hoping to be impressed by you. Give me one.
I went the other route whereby I restructured the
That's
question.
fine. That's fine. Go for it.
So question number one, how did you occupy yourself
Wait,
this
fine,
past
fine, fine.
week?
We're gonna do this. You ask a question, Rodriguez, you answer.
Yeah. Rodriguez, do tell, how did you occupy yourself this past weekend?
Well, every week is a opportunity to get better. And last week I had an opportunity to get better by having the opportunity to wrestle at the national tournament.
Pause. You use the word opportunity 3 times. Never do that. Each sentence, like, aim to never repeat a word from one sentence to the next. Always aim to change it. Yes. Like when you repeat words, like too often or systematically, it sounds low IQ. So go again from beginning.
Well, every week is a opportunity to be useful in life. So last week, I decided to take on the mission of going to nationals and wrestle with my best performance. So I used the so again. I don't know why.
That's fine. That's what you're doing very well.
Okay.
Okay, that was good. JB, next one. But that was very good. That's it, sorry.
Still directed towards Rodriguez.
Yes.
Rodriguez, if I may inquire as to the nature of your fraternal bonds.
Be good, but you haven't like you need to be like you if I may
Okay.
inquire to the nature of your fraternal bonds, then you have to ask the question. So you've asked for permission to inquire about it, but you haven't asked what the sentence. So go again, but that was very good.
So, Rodriguez, might I inquire as to the nature of your fraternal bonds? How is your relationship with your partner, with your siblings?
Good.
Siblings are interesting. Um, they're like your first rivals, but also your allies, you know. You're always competing, arguing, but you learn to respect each other. And if you have a good relationship, it is a gift. And if you can't get along with your family, it's just hard to get along with the world, you know. You need that relationship.
Okay. Your sentence structure is very good, and it would be 1,000 times better if it was reworded or if you just changed a few words. Right? So rather than saying the relationship, like a good relationship is a gift, I take it as a gift the fact that I have a good relationship.
It's a gift.
It's simple restructuring that makes it sound a lot more eloquent.
Thus,
Right? And this exercise, I know it sounds very tedious or boring. When utilized, not just on a sales call, but all of life, it changes everything. From how like, the biggest thing is how people treat you. Right? I noticed this a long time ago. I think you guys may have heard me say it before with reading, right? A long time ago, I just started fucking reading. Why? I just decided, you know what, reading's very good. Let me just do intensive reading. And I was reading a lot for 3 months. And then I noticed people are treating me really differently. Now, granted, I'm relatively observant to how people treat me. And I was noticing a big shift and I was super confused because I knew it was happening and I didn't know why. And then the only difference was my reading. It took me like a week or something to figure out. I was like, what is it? And I was like, oh, fuck. The only change to my life has been reading. Now, it's not because I'm more intelligent. It's all because of how I was structuring sentences. In reading, I was seeing how other people structured and formulated their sentences, saying the exact same thing in a different manner. And granted, authors, I would say, are the best at it. Right? So I know this seems very boring, very tedious, but this is very useful. All right. And so, JB, final one.
Rodriguez, what per se is your
No.
deepest source of internal conflict?
Okay.
may I? So, while everyone has insecurities, no one is perfectly confident because life is just uncertain. If I had to name one thing, maybe it's the fear of not living up to my expectations or living up to my potential, not doing that extra work after the wrestling practice, or not pushing myself past my limit is the biggest fear that I have.
Very good. You another small adjustment. Removing the word because and maybe. It's not necessary. And with the context that you're providing, people would understand you mean because, and maybe doesn't mean anything. Right? If I was to pick something, maybe you don't need it though. If I was to pick something, and then you don't even have to say it would be. If I was to pick something, my fear of not finishing, so on and so forth. We've removed maybe, removed it may be, gotten straight to the point, taken away the filler, putting more power behind what you say. Right? Even in saying the word maybe, you're taking power away from what you're saying. Because you're taking the power it has to the answer, because it's now a maybe. Right? One thing that I do often is write. I say write a lot. It's really fucking annoying. It's my filler word. Nika, show us what you got.
Is it changing the question or making an answer on it?
Whichever one you focused on.
Well, I did both because I was not sure.
10-10. That's the best way to do it.
It's the what activities do you engage last weekend? I wrote down. After a little bit too much sleep, I recognized the fact that nobody's here to lift you up, so I stood up and accomplished the impossible.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Very good. The question was weak, but the answer was very good. Next.
In what state is the nature of your relationship with your siblings?
Medium.
I refuse to be held back, so I cut off the ties that were the biggest weight that I chained on myself.
Very good. High. Could be better, but very good. Last one.
What aspect of yourself do you find causes you the greatest sense of insecurity?
Good.
This one I didn't have an answer to yet.
Wonderful. All in all, very good. Again, this seems highly redundant, or it may seem highly redundant. And then I've got a few things to go over, right? See, right, I used it again, my filler word. Change 2 words. Direct impact, perception. Now, on the basis that you don't see the effect of this, do you guys believe if you spoke in slang, people will treat you differently? To the exact same opposite, would people treat you better? Not always better. You can be discriminated for it. Like, I wouldn't go to the fucking hood and speak like a twat. Right? So, like, if I am around my hood, like, whether hood people or people like from the past of that certain stupidity of my life and so on and so forth, do you think I speak in this fashion? The fuck no. I actively will sit down and remember what words of slang did I once use back in the day, of what have I fucking seen online. Yes, all points of intelligence will be removed from my language, simply because it will bear no strength. If there is any problem, speaking like a posh twat will not help me under any circumstance, will likely cause even more issues to me. So, circumstantial. However, when you go to a meeting, do you see this having an impact in your life? With a partner, with family, with friends, good opportunity, bad circumstance, do you see this being a strength? So then to that, or how much weight do you believe it will bear to the circumstance? And to that extent, how many circumstances is it likely to bear weight? And to that extent, how powerful would it be if you guys actually sat down and listened to yourself speak or assess before you speak? How much of change would that incur? And to that, vocabulary has the biggest effect. And going one step further, right? I put like car is ROI, right? Many people think I really like cars. I don't know anything about cars. I don't give two flying fucks about a car. Yes? Like, I give negative shits about cars. However, I remember a long time ago, I had invited someone to come to London, and I needed them to live a very specific lifestyle. So I got them a Rolls Royce. So they had a Rolls Royce for a few days while they were here. The driver would take them wherever the fuck they wanted. Granted, I had never done anything like that, never hired myself a fucking nice car, right? None of it. And then one time they were at a dinner, and I knew the driver was available and I needed to go somewhere. JB?
I wanted to ask, would I be correct in assuming that the vocabulary goes hand in hand with how you actually articulate the words? So if you have a high degree of vocabulary
Yes.
and you cannot articulate it, you most likely come across as the same level as someone who has a lower level of vocabulary.
Even lower. But it's like, use your brain when you fucking, if you can't, even this training isn't very fucking useful. Yes, because yeah, if you're gonna do something, do it correctly. It'll be difficult in the beginning, but it's worth the work, right? But now just coming back to my story, the guy was in a restaurant. I knew I could take the car, so I took the car. Then I'm sitting at the car and I'm thinking, what a fucking waste of my money. Because I'm going from point fucking A to point fucking B. There's no difference in the fucking traffic. This is all very, very useless. And I thought, I'm never fucking doing this. What a fucking waste. And then I opened the door of the car and I saw how everyone looked at me. And I was like, ah, this is why they do it. This makes sense. Right? Anyone who saw me automatically snap judgments like that. Now we must look that I want, and then let's talk about rooms as well. Rooms is very important. I want the highest level of life. Realistically, unless you're going into like tech or some nerdy, like extreme introverted stuff that doesn't require people or doesn't fully require people, your success is highly based on interpersonal relations. And interpersonal, it's basically all in the head and all in people's heads. So for me to get to the highest point, I need people to get there, whether that's from sales, closing deals, building up teams, so on and so forth. So then we must look at perception, right, as arguably the greatest variable to getting you there. And then you guys have to look at from sentence structure to how you stand, to how you to the words that you select in the sentences that you structure, to how you walk, to how you act in circumstances, to, if you can, the car that you drive, to the places that you visit, to the parties that you go to, or to the lack of parties that you go to the drugs you choose to take or not to take, to how you drink and how you get drunk, or if you don't get drunk, how will you be seen? And it's all circumstantial. You can act one way and it'd be very good in certain environments. It will not help in other environments. Now, obviously, different laws come into play, such as mirroring, Socratic questioning, so on and so forth, silence, etc., right? Because in many cases, shutting the fuck up is the best play that you can do, rather than articulating yourself and over speaking for the sake of it, right? And then we go into rooms, which is one thing that you guys really have to understand, right? Right now, there is a room where, to be fair, there's fucking hundreds of thousands, where a $10 million deal is underway. It's happening right now. Thousands of rooms, like 10 million plus. Yeah, we've got thousands of rooms right now in the world where this is happening. Do you guys accept this fact? While you're on this call learning, there are rooms right now where deals are being done for $10 million. We all agree? All that's happening in that room is people are speaking. Nothing else. It's different humans communicating very specific things to each other. And because of that, 10 million is being moved or is being made. We all agree? Yes? And it's up to, the only differences between you and them is knowledge. Whether it is the literal knowledge, the articulation of said knowledge, or how that person holds themselves as an individual. The example I've given as an example, I speak very good fucking English. I hold myself very well. Russians may struggle to deal with people in the UK. So I'm going to go represent Russians because I have that capacity that they don't have, understanding the culture, the language, so on and so forth. Right? Or let's say I speak Russian, opposite can happen. Nothing special about me. I'm just a human like anybody else. So what have I done? How have I led a life or controlled the variables or understood the variables at the very least that has allowed me to get there? Because at the end of the day, all of you want to be in a room discussing $10 million deals plus, correct? What does that take? What level of awareness or consciousness over yourself must you have in order to do that? And we can all agree here on this call that there's a version of you that speaks in a certain way, holds himself in a certain manner, has certain beliefs, has cancelled certain beliefs, has dealt with certain insecurities, and has projected themselves in a fashion that has allowed them to, well, it's not that difficult to enter these rooms. You just have to have a combination of different things and carry them forth. So what is it that you need to do? And you'd be surprised that if the more aware you are, the less work it takes. But then it's the more aware you are in all circumstances, any room that you enter, all conversations that you have. Are you someone who is consciously aware with what they are doing and the impact that they are leaving or not? Relatively simple. Funny enough, we had no time to go into fuck me, fuck you. There's just one more thing, which was Karen, I just wanted to let you know that you're blind. Yes. Did you read that? Did you see that before? I needed it as a mental note because I needed to discuss it.
I didn't.
Yeah, I needed it as a mental note. It's not that you're blind, but you are.
I am indeed.
Don't worry, everyone's blind. The specific to this is the desire to go USA versus Germany. I will 100% agree with you that 99% of cases, in 99% of cases, it is better to focus in one place rather than two. You agree? Except when you don't know which place has a greater ROI and which one has a higher conversion rate and which one has a better success to service delivery. Now, on the basis that you know which one is better and you have people advising saying, I have experience in both markets, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Unless you have advantages in one specific market or you know the comparison between two different markets, it may actually be counterintuitive to go into only one market, not knowing both. And many people would advise stick to one, except if they don't know the comparison. So that's the only point where I say you're blind. I needed just to remember that, just to tell you that, because I would have assumed that if you were one to seek counsel or advice to other people, they would tell you to stay in one place, only listen if they have experience in both. Make sense? Yeah. Wonderful. Funny enough, we did nothing on fuck me, fuck you. Does anyone have any questions on the session today? Or general questions outside of the session today that they need answered? No? Oh, Pocahontas.
What strategy would you use if you had to talk to 3 clients?
To 3 clients.
Yeah,
Why 3?
because they work with 3.
I'm lost. What would I do to speak to 3 separate clients or 3 clients that
No.
are...
At the same time.
I'm speaking to 3 clients at the same time.
Yeah, how would you strategize that?
I would never do that. Way too many variables in the air. 3 clients who don't know each other.
Yes, they know each other. They work with each other.
Oh, so 1 client, that's a team of 3.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that's fine. So I'm speaking to 3 people. Give me more context. Like, be as specific as
Spoke with one who said he goes over the marketing. He had some doubts. We made a second appointment and he asked his partners to come along with it.
Okay, perfect. I would not speak. Now, what do I mean by that? Because I've been on those again, 3 prospects, I would not speak. Yes, and this is what I mean when I say that. So I've had these calls, like a bunch of these calls, right? My priority is the biggest point is I don't know. That's all I know when going to a fucking call. Now I can do that with one person. I don't know shit, but relatively easy to handle one person. 3 people, I don't know the dynamics. I don't know who's the leader. I don't know too many fucking things. Who's the smartest? Who's the bossiest? Who can I fucking ignore? I'll give an example. We have 3 people. Now, typically, if there's a business of 3 people, one of them is fucking useless. The way that dynamics typically go is that 2 people will decide that they're smarter than the third person, and the third person is a tag along or someone who does work, so on and so forth. You typically don't need 3 very high level individuals. More often than not, it's rare. So I need to figure out which person is fucking, I can ignore them. A la fucking poubelle. They're now at the bottom of the hierarchy. I'm above them. I've decided. I will shut the fuck up and I will ask way too many questions just so I can figure out the dynamic. And I also need to understand that I've now got 3 people hiding from me, and they will hide successfully, except when I question them, because 3 people will struggle to lie together unless it's prepared. I also, depending, are they early on in business or are they late in business?
One of the 3 came later to the other 2, but
How
I
many
don't know
clients?
the other 2.
How many clients do they have?
They have in total 9 med spas, so
So relatively new.
yeah,
I would put that, especially with 3 people, that's relatively new, because the amount of like manpower or hours that they have, it's a lot. My goal is to dissect all of them completely. I need all the weaknesses out of their business, all of them to agree that they need me. That's my priority. They need to all openly show me that they're in a shit position or in a position that needs helping. And only at that point would I start explaining how I help. But I need their entire business laid out. Nothing can be hidden from me. I need full power on that call. All 3 of them need to understand that I am better than all of them. Not better, I am the one to fix their problems. Because 3 people are having 9 clients and they're coming out for help, something's wrong. One part of the business needs a massive boost. Because there's an argument to be made, cool, if 3 people can get to 9 clients, they have more than enough time to go further. And there's more than enough split in responsibility in a business model. It's a marketing agency, right?
yeah.
Yeah. They've got more than enough hours for each one to get very good at one skill set, from appointment setting to sales to service delivery. I need to figure out what that problem is and then focus on that problem. And there's one of 2 routes, and it depends on the weakness. It depends on so much. If they are a solid team and they cannot be broken apart, then I'm there to boost that one person who's really fucking weak and putting them all in a position, because it's a bunch of lonely entrepreneurs all wanting good for each other. And they're like, yeah, if he's better, she's better, I'm better. Or someone's going out of a job. If they don't care about each other and it's cutthroat, we're making money, wonderful. I'll replace them. They're not needed. Lots of variables, but the biggest thing is shutting the fuck up and asking a lot of questions and getting them naked. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is handling threesomes is like one of the laws. It's a little bit more complicated, but the biggest thing is power dynamic. Like you need to have full understanding. You cannot be naked, because 3 people looking at you naked is very different from you looking at 3 people naked separately. It's just a lot more questioning that you need to do. Yeah. And understand that you will get pushback. Because statistically speaking, one of them is very disagreeable and happy to take control. You cannot let that happen.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had that on the last time I had that, It was 3 fucking calls that I needed to do. And all they wanted to do is see me, like, see where I am, or like see what I can offer them. No chance. I did not do anything on what the fuck I could offer until they were naked. I understood everything in their business inside out. I took my bloody time with it. I was in no rush. Because if I were to rush, nothing's happening. Yeah. Wonderful. Any questions? No? Cool. Are you guys all booked in for your next session? Yes? Wonderful. JB, can you stay on the call? I just wanted to discuss one thing with you. And the rest of you, please be aware that everything that my specific types of training is most effective when you apply it to the real world. Because when you apply it to the real world, you will naturally apply it to your sales. So be conscious human beings. Wonderful. I'll see you guys in your next session.
Thank you. Bye.